associates! This video summarizes Made to Stick, the book from Chip and Dan Heath that we'll be using this semester to help improve the effectiveness and stickiness of our professional, technical, and specialized communication. I won't cover all the nuggets, like what's the deal with Halloween candy or Darth Vader's toothbrush, so I really suggest picking up your own copy. I got mine on Amazon for about $15. We will go over the keys to success when it comes to writing, as well as the main villain that I want us all to pay attention to for every assignment this semester. I expect you to know and apply the concepts and skills talked about in this video and this book and all of your documents throughout the semester and on into your professional careers. So, let's get started. Successful communication begins with S. S means simple, but simplicity does not mean dumbed down. Simplicity is getting to the core of your message and telling your audience exactly what that core is. Finding the core means stripping an idea down to its most critical essence. To get to the core, we've got to weed out superfluous and tangential elements. But that's the easy part. The hard part is weeding out ideas that may be really important, but just aren't the most important idea. Simple also relies on schemas or associations that your audience already has formed about things in life, ideas, and it can help you connect to bigger pieces. You might also think of these as analogies. Here's an example from everyone's favorite little mouse, or at least favorite little mouse to hate. For example, Disney calls its employees cast members. The metaphor of employees as cast members in a theatrical production is communicated consistently throughout the organization. Cast members don't interview for a job, they audition for a role. When they are walking around the park, they are on stage. People visiting Disney are guests, not customers. Jobs are performances, uniforms are costumes. The theater metaphor is immensely useful for Disney employees. It is so useful that just by reading the last few paragraphs, you can probably predict how cast members should behave in situations we probably haven't discussed. S. U. Stickiness relies on unexpected lanes of communication. The final minutes of this movie are seared into my brain forever, because even though I knew that the snap was a very strong possibility, the fact and the way that it happened still broke from the usual formula for a superhero movie. It was still unexpected, and so I remember it very clearly. We can't make technical writing as marvelous as a superhero film, but we can find ways to help communicate our messages in some unexpected ways, or ways that shift away from the typical pattern. For example, readers are used to just a page full of text, but if we use things like infographics, clear headings, excerpts, and images, that can help give an unexpected turn to the core of your technical writing. So, a good process for making your idea stickier is 1. Identify the central message you need to communicate. Find the core. 2. Figure out what is counterintuitive about the message, i.e., what are the unexpected implications of your core message? Why isn't it already happening naturally? Communicate your message in a way that breaks your audience's guessing machines along the critical, counterintuitive dimension. Then, once their guessing machines have failed, help them refine their machines. Next time you feel surprised by something that you read, take a moment to jot down in your discovery entries what it was that the author did or how did they say it that really stood out to you and made you remember or stop and think. S, U, C. C is for concrete. Be real instead of abstract. Use specific details or people, actions, and descriptions when possible to help people really visualize and remember what you're trying to say and tell them. Using specific actions and details is extremely important in technical communication, and it will help your readers remember what you're trying to explain, get them to do, focus on. It'll help you get to the core of the message. Like airplanes. When Boeing prepared to launch the design of the 727 passenger plane in the 1960s, its manager set a goal that was deliberately concrete. The 727 must seat 131 passengers, fly nonstop from Miami to New York City, and land on runway 422 at LaGuardia. The 422 runway was chosen for its length, less than a mile, which was much too short for any of the existing passenger jets. With a goal this concrete, Boeing effectively coordinated the actions of thousands of experts in various aspects of engineering or manufacturing. Imagine how much harder it would have been to build a 727 whose goal was to be the best passenger plane in the world. We will write cover letters this semester, and you really need to be concrete in this to help persuade the reader that you deserve an interview. You want to stick out in the mind of that hiring manager and get to the top of the list for an interview. So use concrete details, stories, and experiences to help really sell the skills that you have. Take a few moments and jot down at least 2 specific, concrete examples that you could use to show that you have work ethic in your cover letter rather than just saying the words. S-U-C-K, credible. Just kidding, always proofread. Credible, especially in our professional and academic writing this semester, is fairly straightforward. There are 2 things that I really want you to remember, however. First, our messages need to stand on their own with internal credibility. You won't always be there to explain all the words in your training manual or your proposal to someone, so it needs to be clear and credible as soon as they read it. Additionally, someday your voice might have a lot of weight simply because it's you saying or writing it, but for most of our careers, that's just not going to be the case. Somebody needs to really believe in and get a sense of credibility from the words that you write down in your proposal, your training manual, your memo, whatever it might be, just from the words alone. My advisor tells me about this all the time. Sometimes I get a bit frustrated at how much I feel like I need to explain concepts in my papers or go and cite a lot of other authors. And I realize maybe 20 years in the future, if I have a lot of work published, then things might be a bit different. But for now, I have to take the time to make sure every sentence, every paper, every idea that I embed can stand on their own with fully fleshed out arguments, a full base of literature behind it, and everything is clearly explained so that the reader can grasp it the first time through without me being there to answer any other questions. Until then, you and I both need to make sure that our arguments are transparent, they're clear, they're well explained, and they're fully supported by whatever literature, stats, and other data that we might be building it on. Statistics, citations, and clear, concrete explanations that support your argument, position, or idea will help boost the internal credibility of our writing. With stats, just make sure that you evaluate and understand the evidence first before you create your argument or position, rather than the other way around. Additionally, ground your statistics in contextual scales that really help the readers understand what the core of your message and the impact of that data. This contextual scale can really help improve the stickiness if it's something that people can visualize and understand more readily. For example, so when should you use 25% versus 1 in 4 people? It depends on your message, but one or the other might be more sticky and more credible for the audience you're trying to reach. S-U-C-C-E is for emotional. Emotion probably won't mean sappy or tear-jerky, especially for our professional and technical communication. I mean, if your instruction manual does make me cry, you might get an A, but for our purposes, think about emotion as what makes people care about the message you're getting across. So if your messages are really concrete, with clear consequences of enacting or acting mapped out, we're much more likely to get people to care about the message you're trying to get across. How can we make people care about our ideas? We get them to take off their analytical hats. We create empathy for specific individuals. We show how our ideas are associated with things that people already care about. We appeal to their self-interest. We also appeal to their identities, not only to the people they are right now, but also to the people they would like to be. Last, stories. The story's power then is twofold. It provides simulation, knowledge about how to act, and inspiration, motivation to act. Note that both benefits, simulation and inspiration, are geared to generating action. In the last few chapters, we've seen that a credible idea makes people believe. An emotional idea makes people care. And in this chapter, we'll see that the right stories make people act. Stories serve as a mental simulator to help the audience really engage, understand, and care about the message, the action, or the change you're trying to create through your technical, professional, specialized communication. There are three main plots that you might use when you're writing to your audience. The challenge plot helps motivate your audience to do something. The connection plot is best when you're trying to build a relationship with and among your audience. And the creativity plot can help inspire your audience to do something. Go over the assignment list in the syllabus and start to think about what types of plots and stories might apply to which types of assignments. For example, in your training manuals, will you be able to add elements of a challenge plot or a connection plot to motivate your audience to do something on one hand, or to relate with them and build relationships on another? Take a few moments and jot down these ideas on your syllabus or in your discovery entries. The last thing we need to go over is the villain. I suffer from it, all of my past students have suffered from it, and you're going to suffer from it too. Luckily, we just learned a lot of strategies to overcome the curse of knowledge. Once we know something, it's really difficult to imagine not knowing it, but that is what much of your readership and audience will experience. Additionally, as writers, we know exactly what we meant with every sentence, and we have a lot of background information, context, and details going into what we write. Your readers, however, only have the words that are on the page, and that's what makes the curse of knowledge so difficult. Right? If we use jargon or don't simplify the core of our messages enough, the reader isn't going to be able to keep up because they don't have all of the information that we have as authors and writers on this topic. My advisor chides me on this a lot. I get so excited to write about the new observations or theories and ideas that I have that I forget to really explain where I'm coming from to the reader sometimes. She describes it as leaving them on the platform at the train station. As the conductor, I have a tendency to go full steam ahead without making sure all of my passengers are on board first. So this semester, we, both you and I, are going to work on being the best train conductors. We're going to make sure that all of our passengers are on board, that they're with us, and they understand everything that we're saying before we head off down the tracks. I expect you to use the made to stick principles in all of your writing this semester. They're going to improve the effectiveness of your messages, and they're going to help those messages stick in your readers' brains. Now, you won't always get the full deck of success, but there are 3 that must be included in every single piece of writing you turn in this semester. You must always be simple, get to the core of your message, concrete, provide the details that your readers need in your technical communication, and credible. You must always be accurate and relevant to the message you're trying to get across. All right. So this has been a quick review of Made to Stick. Again, I encourage you to pick up your own copy, but I'll be bringing a lot of the activities and more information in class. So, see you then. Bye, associates.